Guys, let me tell you my tale of woe right now. I recorded an hour-long episode, and it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. And you will never ever see it because there was no audio because this one completely died. I have to charge it. It's fine. But you know what? Today, we're going to be talking about self-trust. And part of that means that I'm going to record this episode all over again, trusting and knowing that I can make it better. Because it was really good, y'all. It was so good. I can do it better. I promise. And yeah, with that being said, let's get started. Hi, guys. My name is Swan, and welcome back to Sincerely Swan, the podcast where I talk about whatever's on my mind. Today, am going to be talking about The Overthinker's Guide to Making Decisions by Joseph Wen. It is a fantastic book. I got this book in West Palm when I was vacationing there with my boyfriend, and that was the very, very first time I'd ever been to West Palm, and it was so interesting. We were in Palm Beach, and that's where all of the millionaires, billionaires are. So I got this book in West Palm Beach, and that place is like nothing else that I have ever seen. I mean, that is like the stomping grounds of millionaires and billionaires in the US. One of them, of course, I'm sure they are in multiple places, like rats. Not to say I have like that much of a hatred for billionaires. I really admire their success. It really does take hard work to get there. For some of them, some of it is just nepotism, but I really found the scale of everything over there incredibly impressive. I am someone who was raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and if you know anything about Albuquerque, New Mexico, it's like comparing a sinkhole to the prettiest places in Dubai, but just to kind of like juxtaposition it. When I was there with my boyfriend, we went to go and visit the Epstein house, and it's no longer there. They knocked everything down after everything that happened, and it's a whole new, different place now. Driving up to that property even is such an eerie feeling, just thinking in retrospect, like, of all of these young girls, because I'm not going to say young women, they were girls, all of these young girls who likely, were looking out the window as the car is driving up to this horrible torture chamber of a home, and I can't even imagine how gut sinking and awful that must have been, especially for girls who, surely tried to escape that situation and were likely brought back by those terrible people. It is so interesting, just like the juxtaposition between coming from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Previously, I thought that like that was all I could really experience, and I'm very lucky because having been born in Europe and having family in Europe, I have traveled out of the country and traveled very often, and that has given me a lot of experience to kind of put my life more into perspective. But I did grow up primarily in New Mexico, and for a long time I thought, this is what life has to offer for me. This is my life. This is where I was raised and where I will stay unless I do something about it. And I'm really proud of myself. This past year, I moved across the country and to a place that is so beautiful, I can't even begin to describe it. And since then, I've had so many wonderful experiences. A lot of that just boiled down to trusting myself, though, and trusting myself that I could get there, and that even if you come from somewhere as low-key shitty as Albuquerque, you can make it to West Palm. Even if you're just vacationing there, it's still an improvement, right? Not to say Albuquerque is horrible, I really do love it, and I hope to return there someday. But it's been such a life. It's been such a life. And today I want to talk about self-trust and how all of these things kind of tie into that. And basically, I just want to be able to help you find that within yourself. Because for me, it took a lot of trial and error. And I like to think that I got all of this experience in order to teach others, in order to help others. And I've gone through all of this struggle and maybe suffering, discomfort, because there's a point to it. And I've always wanted to help people, and I think that is my point. When I was in West Palm, we went to a little bookstore and I got this book. It is fantastic, and I think I really can appreciate it because I'm at this point in my life where I can actually really appreciate this book. Like, I can actually look at it and learn the lessons from it. Here are some of the most important little parts that I've really absorbed and enjoyed in this book. The moment you stop running from fear, it stops running your life. Solving overthinking doesn't require another plan, another pros and cons list, another round of mental gymnastics. It requires your presence, your grounded, clear-eyed willingness to feel what you've been avoiding. That is the turning point. Once you realize that all overthinking is just fear in disguise, you can stop battling every thought and simply address the root emotion. It's important that when you are looking for growth and looking to make substantial change in your life, that you are aware of all things, not just your vision board and what you want out of your life and like what seems really cool for you. You need to realize where you are failing yourself, where you are scared, because that is where you're going to grow the most. I really think that engaging with what some people call like the shadow self, and like the bad parts of ourselves, the parts that we hide away from, the parts that scare us and that make us feel weak, those are where we're going to learn the most about ourselves, learn the most about how we actually view the world, and be able to actually challenge ourselves on that. Because you cannot solve a problem by only looking at half of it and working only with that half. It's like trying to be told, like, okay, here, fix up this car, but I'm giving you one wrench and like a banana. That's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything. So you need to be able to look at yourself, apply a little bit of that pressure, be strict, yes, but also be understanding that there are so many sides of you, and the bad sides deserve just as much attention as the good. I truly believe that the things that we fear are actually the things that we need to address, because for me personally, things that I've avoided are usually the source of my problems. For example, this past year, I really avoided looking at my bank account at all. Dealing with my finances, creating a budget, I avoided all of it because it made me uncomfortable, but also because that was what I actually needed to address. The point being, I knew finances were a problem for me, and I ignored them because I was scared. And in that fear, I could have actually learned that this is what I need to focus on. There's a solution to everything. You put your mind to it, you work on it, you fix it, and then it goes away. And then you're no longer scared of that. And how good could that be? And I think something we really need to remind ourselves is, if there is a better path for you, if there is a better option, why not choose that? Usually the answer is that we do not want the discomfort. We want it to be easy. We know that this better path will be hard. But that is also so ridiculous, because then we are choosing to be in a place that is uncomfortable. We're picking our discomforts. You could pick a greater discomfort for more comfort later, instead of simmering in this pot to eventually boil alive. You have to be able to choose discomforts, because eventually you'll have negotiated so much with your brain and your emotions, and then you're boiled alive, and you'll have done nothing that you wanted to do in this life, this one life that you have, which we really don't often realize how special and important that is. There's only one. For the sake of also being grateful for what we have, do everything. Do everything, even if it scares you, even if it challenges your beliefs. Doesn't matter. Do it. We have one life, and we have so much possibility. The world is huge. There's so much you could learn. You could become like the coolest version of yourself. So why not pick that? The part where he says, once you realize overthinking is fear in disguise, you can start battling every thought and simply address the root emotion. That's something that I think is also super important. And it's something that I actually learned in therapy, being able to address the root emotion. For me, this looked like naming my emotions. When I was anxious, telling myself, sometimes in a mirror, sometimes just out loud, I'm anxious. Knowing this, addressing this, confronting it, realizing that this is something that is happening within you, not necessarily to you, it is just happening. Now you can actually make a plan to overcome it. A couple days ago, I was really sad. And so I told myself, okay, I'm sad. I'm feeling this way. Now I know it. I've been sad before, and I've overcome it. I know that to be true. And that's something we should all know to be true, because we've all lived enough life to have experiences. I'm sure you've learned something through them. You've been frustrated before. You've been sad before. You've been in states of depression. You've pulled yourself out. So look back to that. Even if it's hard, because maybe you're in that moment again and the emotions are so strong, but look back at when you got out. What did you do then? That's where you can learn. That's where the lesson is. That's when you need to realize, like, okay, I have overcome this. I can overcome things. I just have to be more consistent with the practice. So what did I do back then? And how can I apply it to this situation now? For me, this meant naming my emotions and then powering through them and taking action. Taking action in order to overcome my fear. Because I didn't need a 10-step guide. I didn't need to watch an influencer on TikTok tell me, this is how you're going to fix your life in 2026. I needed action in order to stop the rumination, the sadness, all of this from catching up with me, from overwhelming me. This is literally the first part of a very, very dense but beautifully written book. Okay. Doo-doo-doo. Next little part that I want to talk about. There are no failures, only invitations to grow. No path is wasted. Every decision offers something we need, whether it's clarity, healing, strength, or the reminder to listen more closely next time. When growth becomes the goal, fear begins to dissolve. In doing so, you release the pressure to choose the perfect path and become the person who can walk any path with presence, courage, and peace. This is where real confidence is born, not from trying to control the future, but from knowing that you can weather any future. When your goal is to grow, you will never fail. You will never make mistakes because you will understand that all of these things are opportunities for learning and for growth. There's a part of this book too where he kind of deliberates on the fact that there are no such things as right or wrong decisions. Some of the decisions that we make may seem right in the moment and actually be wrong way later down the line, or some moments where we feel like we have messed up turn out to be moments where maybe we are actually standing up for ourselves and for our standards and we're doing the right thing. We just don't realize it. There's no such thing as right or wrong. There is no such thing as the best decision. That is why you simply have to focus on trusting yourself, on trusting your vision, your goal, your intent, knowing that you are a good person, that you have good values, that you are trying to do a good thing, and that is good enough. And you will mess up and you will fail, and people may look at you and be like, how could you? And you're a horrible person. But I really truly believe that if you are acting in a way that is true to yourself, so long as you are not harming others, of course, you are not ever going to make the wrong choice. And when it comes to changing your life and achieving your goals, it is important that you start looking to all of these things with this desire for growth and this understanding that there is no perfect path. There is just your path, and then there's the path of someone else. And what they do might seem like it gets them way more successful than you, but that's also their path, and they are learning things to a degree that you might not be able to understand yet, and they probably have suffered a lot more or will suffer a lot more later down the line. You don't know. All you can do is focus on yourself and focus on your path. Don't worry about where life is going to take you. Trust that if you are being true to yourself, it will take you in the right direction. Because at the end of the day, I don't care how much you try. You cannot predict the future. No one can. The only people who seem to are like insider traders, and they're still not even doing the right thing because they're not actually predicting the future. They're just controlling the outcomes. So don't get so bogged down on the decision, because at the end of the day, you're going to be just fine. Again, the whole point of life is to experience things and to learn. And I really think that the entire fabric of this universe, the entire point is change. Things are constantly changing, things are constantly evolving and growing and balancing themselves out. Matter is in a constant state of change, in a constant state of flow. And the harder you push against that, that's when you're going to find the most problems. But the more you just go with it and you accept the fact that change will happen, that bad times follow the good times, follow the bad times, follow, and it continues on and on and on and on, you can actually accept your place in life and move forward with more dignity and more grace and more peace. Because that's what we all want at the end of the day, is we want to experience more peace and happiness. And you can, even in the bad moments. It's about your mindset. It's about the way you address things. That's all I really have for you guys today. And low-key, I'm just feeling kind of tired of talking. I've been staring at this ring light for way too long. I swear I'm gonna like go outside and be like, ah. My brother was telling me, because he also like sometimes will watch some of my stuff, and he was like, you need to invest in better lighting and a better mic and all of that. And I'm like, I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying. Just, my current career path is not. I'm not a billionaire, is all I'm gonna say. But one day, y'all, and I'm gonna trust myself the entire way. And if I get there, cool. And if I don't get there, also cool. Because guess what? The goal is to learn. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, whatever it is. I hope you are kind to yourself and kind to others. I hope that you are able to trust yourself more, and don't get so bogged down in the details. I know you see on TikTok, on Instagram Reels, everything, all these influencers trying to be like, this is like how you do this in 10 steps and blah, blah, blah. And look, the true lessons are not learned so quickly. People who are trying to sell you a quick way to fix your entire life are doing just that. They're just trying to sell you something. They're trying to grab your attention. The true benefit of living life and learning things, you do it through experiencing it. There's no quick fix. And that's hard to come to and to understand, but like the faster you get there, the happier you'll be. I love you guys. Have a wonderful time, whatever. I know I was already saying my goodbyes. I'm very Midwestern in that sense. I'll be like, goodbye, and then we'll talk for like 20 minutes, and then I'll be like, goodbye. I do that a lot. I love y'all. I will see you in the next one. You can catch me on Spotify, find me on any of the apps. It's all under Sincerely Swan. You just gotta type it with your little fingies. And have a good one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.